Alright, real quick before we get started, this video is kind of dated, as I'm sure that you guys will see. It's a video from a long time ago that I never got around to uploading, and after editing it, I'm telling you right now that there's a lot more information that I want to add to this video. It's a good concept, but man, there's a lot of stuff that I left out, and I mostly picked one thing and I went with it whenever it came to this topic. So I do plan on doing a revision to this. I still decided to go ahead and put up the old video just because I have the old video, and I mean, that's going to be like part one. But I do plan on making a part two and adding a lot more information to this subject, which it absolutely deserves. So let's get into the video, and it is from forever ago. You guys can hear Kevin? Kevin is screaming. It's like 3 in the morning. This is what it's like having peacocks, guys. Everyone's like, oh, they're such pretty birds. And I'm like, yeah, until you try sleeping at 3 in the morning and he starts screaming over the smallest, most mundane little thing. Their hearing is great too, and like the littlest noise makes them scream like freaking maniacs. Yeah, okay, let's get into the video.
Hello there, people of the internet. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing alright, thanks for asking. Today is kind of a controversial topic that I'm sure a lot of people are going to not agree with me on. I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying this is entirely 110% my opinion. If your opinion differs, that's absolutely fine. The beauty about this world is people don't have to have the same exact opinion on every single little subject. We can agree to disagree. Now, what I'm getting at for this particular video is I want to talk about why I believe very, very firmly the Mosin is a better rifle than the Mauser. Now, both the Mosin and the Mauser, these are some of the most popular bolt-action rifles that are seen around the world. Pretty much every major country and even most of the smaller countries have made one or the other sort of variation of each kind of these rifle. These can be found at pretty much everywhere. They can be found all over the place. Now I'm going to start off by saying in terms of mechanical functionality, I will give the Mauser the advantage over the Mosin simply because it is a much easier, much smoother, much simpler action than the Mosin is. The Mosin has some unnecessary components to it that make it a little bit more complex than the Mauser, specifically the magazine cutoff system. It uses a rimmed cartridge. The bolt itself has that stupid little rail that gets way too sticky way too easily, whereas the Mauser doesn't have to deal with those issues. However, the main reason why I prefer the Mosin over the Mauser itself is the same reason why I prefer 7.62x39 over 7.62x45. 7.62x54 rimmed is simply more available and more reliable than 8mm or 7mm Mauser. Now hear me out on this before you go typing down below your angry comments, waving your fist, yelling at your computer. Just hear me out. 7.62x54 rimmed is still being massively produced, and it is still, the modern production price is still lower than the modern production price of 8mm Mauser. 8mm Mauser is an extremely popular round. Well, that's just because so much of it has been made before. Countries are no longer making it for military use as they are the 54 rimmed, or at least not nearly to the scale that it used to be. As a result, modern production 8mm Mauser and 7mm Mauser is considerably more expensive than the modern production steel case, cheap, you know, off the rack stuff that you can get for 7.62x54 rimmed. Now, if we can find 8mm Mauser out there for 35–40 cents a round like we can find for the 54 rimmed, then hey, that's great. I guarantee it's not going to be all that available, and I guarantee that getting your hands on some 54 rimmed will be easier than modern production 8mm Mauser. Now, there is still surplus out there. There was so much of it made that there's still surplus out there to this day. Unfortunately, a lot of this surplus is extremely unreliable. You know, hang fires, misfires, duds, just you can't put anything on the surplus 8mm Mauser in terms of if you needed reliable ammunition. Now, there is some surplus out there that has proven to be reliable over time. Unfortunately, the stuff is no longer being made, and it is drying up. It is getting progressively harder to find, and it is getting progressively more expensive. The corrosive surplus stuff for the 8mm Mauser, that is actually reliable because it has been stored in decent places, is quite a deal more expensive than the modern production non-corrosive 54 rim that you can pick up for the Mosin. Now there is some cheapo steel case modern production 8mm out there, but that stuff is so horrendously bad that it actually broke the extractor in my Car 98. There is some Romanian steel case stuff floating around, but it is not nearly to the availability of the 54 rimmed. And it doesn't matter how nice a rifle is, if the ammunition is garbage to the point to where you got misfires, hangfires, duds, etc., etc., the rifle that you can readily pick up reasonably reliable ammunition for would definitely, absolutely, beyond all reasonable doubt, be the better rifle. I mean, hell, look at the SKS. I will take an SKS versus pretty much anything chambered in 7.62x45 simply because 7.62x45 is one of those things that you can't find. I like it better than 7.62x39, but because of its lack of availability, it doesn't matter how much I like it, the SKS in 7.62x39 is going to be better than pretty much everything else. I use the SKS as an example because I believe the AK-47 in 7.62x39 is by far the way to go, again, because of ammunition availability, especially in times like what we're witnessing right now with the ammunition shortage. And 223 and all your, common rounds are no longer common, but you can still pick up 7.62x39 pretty readily, pretty easily, it's one of those things that you can still get very, very commonly. Anyway, I've always had bad luck with two particular calibers, one being .308. I've always had really bad luck with .308. Not because of the ammunition, but because of the rifles. It seems like every single time I pick up a .308 rifle, I have some sort of issue with it. I got an Avito Mauser that's like tiger striped. It's actually a pretty nice gun, but these Avito Mausers, you can only shoot certain kinds of a 7.62x51 ammunition through it. And I got a polymer stock Savage Axis. It's a okay gun chambered in .308, but the ammunition that I got for it was absolute trash. I ended up, I had a bunch of hand loads that I picked up from forever ago. And I was trying to zero in that scope that I have on that thing, and it just like it would not zero, and I could not figure out why. So I set myself up a paper target, and I was at like 20 feet, and I was firing at it. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I had a round go here, and like a round go there, and a round go over there, and I'm like, what the hell? And I get closer, and I'm like, oh shit, they're keyholing. All the rounds that I had from those hand loads were keyholing. So I fired some factory spec ammunition through it, and it's not the rifle because those went just fine, but I'm out of ammo, and there's an ammo shortage, so I can't finish zeroing that rifle. The other rifle I've had huge trouble with, well, not necessarily rifle, the other ammunition I've had huge trouble with is 8mm Mauser, simply because of availability. And whenever you get the ammo, if it's surplus stuff and it's not any of the, good surplus like the Yugo or the Czech or whatever the hell that you're getting that you know is reliable, if it's not that stuff, odds are it's garbage, it's trash. This right here is actually a very nice rifle. If I had ammunition more available for it, I'd fire it much more often. This right here is just a Turkish 8mm Mauser. And I have some 1919 Browning 8mm Mauser ammunition that was from a batch that was decently reliable. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire this stuff. I think that this is it. Yeah, 1961. This should be the 8mm Mauser ammunition that worked out well for me. From my experience with this ammo, this particular batch should not be hangfires or duds. Well, we're gonna have to find out about that one. No hangfire dud. Did you see the little pieces of cotton swab for whenever I cleaned this rifle fly out of the barrel of this thing? That was pretty cool. Alright, I think I kind of pulled that one. Alright, at this point I'm just kind of curious about this stuff. This right here is Turkish surplus. I have no idea where this stuff came from. But it's 8mm Mauser ammo. I want to keep one because the bullets are different color than the copper coloring. I'm not sure what kind of jackets they have on it, but it's cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep one of those. Let's see if this stuff right here, and this is just how this goes whenever you're firing surplus stuff, which is mostly what you're gonna get for 8mm Mauser if you don't want to spend stupid amounts of money on modern production ammunition. Let's see if this right here is a dud and or hang fire, or if the case ruptures and blows hot gas into my face. Well, that wasn't a dud. That definitely was not a dud. Ah, hell. Now comes the fun part. I have some Egyptian 8mm Mauser ammo. This stuff is duds and hang fires. This is like bottom of the barrel 8mm Mauser. This Ethiopian stuff and a lot of the Browning 1919 stuff is duds and hang fires as well. I don't foresee me being able to hit anything with this. Hey, that wasn't a dud. How do you like that? Maybe this is a good batch. I doubt it though. There we go. There's a hang fire. I had to take myself like a little grinder and whatnot and clean out or widen the rear notch on this rear sight because, man, I can't see my front sight through it. That's one of the reasons why I have trouble hitting shit with this rifle. Well, I am going to have to clean that rifle now. It was a good time firing that thing. A lot of times whenever I have good 8mm Mauser ammunition, I try and save it. I've got like a whole bunch of Ethiopian stuff and 1919 ammo and couple boxes of Egyptian stuff laying around, but they're all duds and hang fires. I mean, they're fun if I'm like just range blasting, but beside that, it's a waste of money, time, and ammo. All right, well, now I have the Mosin, but I kind of feel like stepping out to a distance to fire this thing because I know this ammunition right here is not going to be hang fires or duds, and I much prefer shooting this over the Mauser. Now, if I had some, you know, PPU 8mm Mauser, I would very much enjoy shooting that over the Mosin, but that stuff is expensive and very difficult to find, especially right now. So 7.62 by 54 room it is. You know, I feel like one day whenever we inevitably end up selling this property and moving somewhere else, whoever gets this property after we're gone, if they decide to come out here and start digging around and looking around and whatnot, they just find the tremendous amount of bullet shells that are, you know, rotting away in the dirt and all of the debris and crap that's going to be left behind from our gun range here. It will be, well, I wish I would be around to watch their reaction. Alright, here's our 54 rimmed. I'm gonna go ahead and lob some lead. Oh god, I should have painted my target like a neon pink or something. Alright, that was a little low. I think that was a little high. There we go, just right, the Goldilocks area. I think that was a hit as well, but I'm not sure. I have no idea where that last round went, but no duds or hang fires. You know what? I'm gonna go out and get myself some bright neon pink paint for that target, because I'm tired of not being able to see that son of a bitch. Typically, whenever I shoot at that thing, I just kind of aim for the front of that rear rim, and I hope that I hit it, but man, that's hard to see. Anyway, let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. If you disagree with me and you think that the Mauser is still the better platform, even though the ammunition for it is far less available, let me know down below. If that's the case, then you probably don't shoot nearly as much ammunition as I do, because I will go out and absolutely blast my range as often as I can, as long as I can. This right here is one of my favorite hobbies to do. and spending $1 plus a round on modern production reliable 8mm Mauser, or having to hunt down surplus that I know is going to be reliable, which isn't always the case. I have had duds and hang fires from the reliable surplus ammunition, which is just the nature of the game. I mean, whenever you're getting ammunition that's 50, 60, 70 years old, that's what it is. You don't know 110% what you're getting. Some stuff is more reliable than other stuff, but unless it's modern production, never any guarantee. Anyway, if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel because I do this stuff all the time, as you can see from the car down there. If you like the video, like the video. Check out the description down below. You're going to find a link to Discord, social medias, second channel where I get drunk, play video games. It's a great time. Alright, well, I have to walk back over there and grab my Mauser. I really dislike the rear sight on that Mauser. Anyone who's ever handled a Turkish Mauser and just like how unbelievably small that rear sight is. Like, I have trouble seeing anyway. And I just cannot see my front sight through that rear sight. So I kind of like lower the front sight down where I think it's approximately where it's supposed to be. But I'll never gain any real accuracy like that. So I definitely am probably more than likely going to widen it out at some point in time. But that's an adventure for down the road. I'm gonna say, hey guys, thanks for watching. It's a very nice day out. What time's it getting to be? Just about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I have time to probably make another video, maybe two, if I hurry myself up. I'm gonna go do that. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. Shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.